Sir, if you are here, then please.
आर्ट पढ़े थे कि साइंस पढ़े थे स्कूल में? आर्ट कौन सी स्कूल में पढ़े हो?
Well, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, everywhere you at. My name is Masweneng Mokolwane Eric from Panama Village in Sekhukhune East District, Limpopo Province, South Africa. Allow me to acknowledge the organizers, the hosts, and everyone who has made this session a success. I just want to tell you that the topic this session is of utmost importance for the development and success of our various tribes. I am of the view that tribal development is one amongst the developments that the society, the world needs. And as such, every single member of the society bears the brunt of the successes of their tribes. And as such, I am from a community that is tribal, and I'm going to use my village as my case study in this regard. My community is in between the mountains and behind mountains, where there is poor network reception, unemployment is high, we are far from the main services, we are a poverty-stricken area. There are many schools with learners who are willing to learn, and we are concentrated in a tribal community of the southern, or Barwa in my mother tongue. My community is about 3,010 households, which is an estimate of about 21,000 community members. So I want to acknowledge that I am from a tribal village where we are led by our tribal chief, and we are practicing our traditional customs in Sekhukhune East District, wherein our tribe is at an estimate number of 7 million. And in this regard, our district, or our tribe, which is the only one in our district, believes in ancestral worship and gods. That is the practice that most of my tribe are involved in. And we are also a tribe that takes young men and women to go on to attend initiation school, which is our traditional practice that welcomes young men and women into and prepare them into adulthood. Now, I just want us to look at the definition of the concept or the name tribe. It is defined by jurists as a social group which is identified by a common territory, dialect, cultural hegemony, social and political organization. In this regard, it means there should be an extensive and identified commonality between members of a particular tribe. And looking at the concept development, development is change that is desirable, that everyone likes, that is planned, systematic meaning, and administered by governmental action. Now, the concept development encompasses the following: an aspect of change, a plan or prediction, governmental involvement, and people should be free to meet their aspirations. Development is also a powerful tool for transforming any society in terms of economic needs, social needs, political needs, and administrative aspect. Now, society can be developed or undeveloped due to a number of issues that are as a result of human activity. So meaning that it is up to the community and everyone involved to either make a community developed or to make it underdeveloped. And we should also be aware of the fact that we can have a weaker economic front, whereas we have stronger social front. So that needs balance for for the development of any tribe to be a success. And this suggests that development should be multidimensional, and we should be considerate that development varies from one region to another. What happens in my area might be influencing what will happen in another. Now, rural tribal communities, especially where I am, are prone to underdevelopment as a result of poor social, economical, political, and administrative mobility. And as such, development becomes hindered. Now, as an educator from this poor tribal community, I am using education as a tool to sharpen young minds in tribal community. And how do I do that? I am using technology tools to bridge the digital divide and to make sure that we collaborate with classrooms from elsewhere in the world in a way of trying to implement Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education that is accessible and inclusive to everyone indiscriminately. And Sustainable Development Goal number 17, which is collaboration for goals. That is what we are doing right now. I am also using modeling theory by Bandura, which says an adult should model any activity so that young people will be able to learn from. So in so doing, I am doing this through gardening project, wherein I involve my learners because we are from a poverty-stricken area. And in this regard, learners go home with vegetable at the end of the day. And in so doing, I am implementing Sustainable Development Goal number 1 and number 2, no to poverty and hunger. And I'm also making sure that I develop my tribe, especially in Panama, my village, as my case study, on how to take good care of the environment, on how to keep our environment clean, through the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal number 13, which is climate action. And I am also involved in developing my tribe through youth seminar. Remember, we are far from the main services. And in this regard, I educate young people, bring community members together to deal with a number of social issues that are affecting our community. And in this regard, I am enhancing better tribal development in my area. As an educator, I am also using educational tools and career guidance to make sure that I develop my tribe through virtual field trips, through online career guidance programs, using augmented apps to travel in different places, and to make sure that these kids who are in the most underdeveloped area are getting access to information that will develop our community and our tribe. I am also using agricultural activities for tribal development, wherein I'm engaging parents of the same learners from my community to make sure that they work for themselves within the school environment through gardening project, the permacultural model, such that when they go home, they are able to feed their families. As I've indicated, that I am in a poverty-stricken area that is semi-arid. And again, in terms of tribal development within this gardening project, where I'm involving both learners and parents, I am using tires, as you can see from the screen. And the reason why I am using tires, South Africa is characterized by demonstrations that are more violent. And in this regard, people in rural areas, in townships, in the cities, are using the same model when they picket or when they demonstrate. They are burning tires. So instead of using tires as tools to destroy the infrastructure that is user-friendly to everyone, I am using tires to plant vegetables and fruit, such that I am repurposing the use of tires. And in this regard, I am implementing sustainable development goal number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And number 3 in this regard, or in essence, refers to good health and well-being. So once people are able to access food, their health will be enhanced. That is one amongst the major developments that we are undertaking in rural areas, especially in my area, as an educator. I am also using innovations in rural contexts through artificial reality apps such as the Mesh Cube, because these learners need to be part of the global community, need to explore what other communities are not able to access and what other communities who are advanced are able to access as well. I'm also using these augmented reality apps to make sure that I fasten knowledge, I empower them with knowledge that is more advanced, that people in the most advanced areas are getting or are receiving. Now, in a way or in one way or another of collaborating with international peers, I am using debates and discussions with global peers so that I can develop these poor learners from this tribal community that is backward to develop their metacognitive skills. Remember, metacognitive skills refers to skills that make or enhance learners to think about their own thinking. And I am also using this international collaboration for these poor learners in this poor tribal village to develop the international use of language, because remember we are speaking one language throughout, which is Sepedi. So in these international collaborations, they are able to learn or to use English as our lingua franca. And in this sense, I am trying to dispel the social exclusion myth that young people and everyone in rural area has. Now, the fourth industrial revolution tools are also significant to develop tribal schools. We are using coding, for instance, in my school, that is in my area, Parma village, as my case study, to make sure that learners generate creativity skill, problem-solving skill, and critical thinking skills, such that we bridge the digital gap and the digital divide that exists between the haves and the have-not. They generate cutting-edge use of technology tools, skills. They generate information literacy skill, media literacy skills, and ICT literacy. That is what we can do in these poorly and underdeveloped tribes that we find ourselves in. I am also using Zoom, which is part of the technological development in rural areas or in these tribal areas, to develop collaboration and communication skills, to make sure that learners are generating problem-solving skills and decision-making skills, especially through misubscribes. Now, through the use of technology tools, young people in these tribes in rural areas will be engaged, and this will spark critical thinking skill. I'm also helping tribal learners to become global citizens. Through Skype, my learners learn state symbols, they learn about capital cities of other nations, they learn about the most important days, such as the independent days in different nations. They learn about the international dress code, international cuisines, and the national flags of other nations. I am also involving these poor learners in this tribal area in World Reading Aloud Days and an hour of coding. And remember that World Reading Aloud Day takes place every year in the first week of February, the first Wednesday, wherein I am trying to build the connection between spoken and written words in teaching these learners. And it is said that in my country, the 2022 Statistics South Africa is saying that 82% of the learners who are in grade 4 cannot read for meaning. So in involving them, I am trying to bridge that gap, to close that gap, because majority of these learners who cannot read for meaning are from these underdeveloped tribes. I am also trying to strengthen vocabulary and fluency because they are in the closed set. So I'm trying to open them up to the wider world in order for them to develop high-level thinking and computer skill through engaging them in the 4IR tools. Now, how can tribal development be enhanced in this regard? There must be special development programs that the government brings about, that the community members brings about, or the community leaders brings about. There must be education and training programs that the government brings about, leaders brings about, so that development can be enhanced. We need to improve economic conditions like I am doing by bringing agricultural activities, by protecting our forests, and by making small-scale industries. We also need to strengthen school infrastructure, bring technology tools in the classroom, and to make sure that learners are accommodated and encourage more learners to come to school. We need to construct vocational training. In this regard, the government is the one that is responsible, so that people in rural areas, in these tribal areas that are underdeveloped, are able to access knowledge and information. We need to provide these tribes with basic amenities such as hospitals, such as running water, such as toilets, such as shopping centers, such as better schools, electricity that is more advanced. And these communities need financial assistance for economic development. And up to this end, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and to thank everyone who is taking part in this session. May God bless you. I thank you.
Thank you, Erickson, for this very nice paper. And